New at 6 tonight, City of Monterey celebrating its 250th birthday this week. The celebration was forced into the virtual arena because of the pandemic. But prior to that, Action News 8 Caitlin Conrad spoke to locals about the history of their town. And tonight she brings us a look at how Monterey evolved from the sardine capital of the world to a tourism destination.
Monterey's sparkling blue bay has always provided those who live near its depths with a wealth of resources.
Monterey literally was the abalone capital of the world going back thousands of years.
Monterey is famous for the sardine fishery that bird Cannery Row. But before that got started, the bay's first commercial fishermen were after something else: abalone.
Monterey's first real commercial fishermen, and I use this term commercial because it's truly how they made their living, were the native people, the Indian people of Monterey, who were the Rumsian people.
Local historian Tim Thomas says the abalone that used to litter the bay were integral to the Rumsian people who predated the founding of Monterey.
Abalone plays a huge important part of their life. I mean, they ate it. They used the shells to make tools like shovels and bowls and fish hooks. They used the shells to decorate baskets, to make jewelry, and they traded it to other California Indians for things they could not get here in Monterey.
When the Spanish settlers founded Monterey in 1770, abalone was of little use to them. In fact, it would take another 130 years for a new group of commercial fishermen to come to Monterey and find the value in abalone.
He came here in right around the 1908, and since he didn't know what else to do, he decided to go fishing. And there was a very active abalone fishing industry here at the time.
Rick Hattori is the grandson of Monterey Bay's last Japanese abalone diver. In 1908, very few Americans understood the value of abalone or even knew how to cook them. The steaks, which now sell for upwards of $125 a pound in the States, had to be packed and shipped off to Japan, where they were a delicacy. Monterey's abalone packing house sat right along Cannery Row, where another fishery was picking up steam. That, of course, the sardine fishery.
The joke was that the fish were sold while they were still in the ocean.
For half a century, fishing was the #1 economy in Monterey. Sardines alone supported 26 canneries, and reduction plants and fishermen on 75 fishing vessels supplied those plants with their daily catch.
And those boats in the heyday of Monterey would carry in excess of 125, 130, 140 tons. So Monterey became the fishing capital of the world of the sardines. And
by 1948, the sardines had been overfished, and 10 years later, the last cannery closed its doors. The blow was devastating to Monterey's economy, but it also opened the door for a new industry to emerge: tourism.
I often said, at one time we caught fish. That was our strong economic base, was sardines. And now what we do is we catch people.
By the mid-20th century, Cannery Row had become a dangerous place, plagued by fires and falling down buildings. But through the smoke, a group of businessmen saw potential.
And then we started buying up all these canneries. Nobody wanted them, and we weren't sure what we could do with them. They were falling in the ocean and whatnot. But one thing we knew, since the beginning of time, 90% of all the people live within 10% of the ocean.
Cannery Row company owner Ted Ballesteri knew Monterey had potential as a tourist destination. The evidence was right in front of him in the views of the Monterey Bay. But those views were under threat. In the late 70s, there was a push in Washington to sell offshore areas for oil drilling.
It would have really destroyed something that those of us who live in this area appreciate more than anything else, which is the natural beauty of that ocean and our coastline.
The Central Coast representative at the time, Leon Panetta, fought back and established the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary.
The ocean here is part of who we are and what we believe is important to the quality of life here. And that quality of life would have been jeopardized if we had not established the sanctuary.
To this day, Monterey sells scenery, and our #1 tourist destination is one that is committed to preserving the environment. The Monterey Bay Aquarium welcomes 1.8 million visitors annually and works year-round to inspire ocean conservation.
Through the years, maybe our definition of beauty has changed, that we really appreciate the bay for the remarkable ecosystem that's out here, for how it provide so many things in our lives without having to take things from the bay.
The aquarium is built on the footprint of Monterey's last cannery and is a concrete example of how Monterey has evolved from a fishing capital to a tourist destination.
To commemorate 250 years, the city of Monterey plans to dedicate a sculpture right here at San Carlos Park. It'll be a sculpture of an abalone, bringing Monterey full circle in these 250 years. Reporting in Monterey, Caitlin Conrad, KSBW, Action News 8.